Hello everyone. Today I'm going to start with your another chapter called demand. As I have already explained to you about demand in your classes, let's just briefly discuss one more time the demand, what is demand and what are its elements. So meaning of demand, the demand refers to the desire backed up by necessary ability to pay. Means whenever you are wanting something, whenever you are desiring something to buy, you always have to have the ability to pay. That means you need to have the money to buy that product, whatever you are wanting to buy. That is known as your demand. The demand for a good at a given price is the quantity of it that can be brought per unit of time at a particular price. Whenever you desire for something, to buy something or some goods, you need to have the ability to pay. That means you have to have the money to pay for it, then only you will be, it is termed as demand. What are the determinants of demand? Determinants is the factors of demand which you have to know. What is the formula of demand? That is Q equal to F, in the bracket it is given P. Q represents the quantity demanded, F represents a function, and P represents the price of the goods. Quantity demanded. What is the formula of quantity demanded? It is the function of price of the good. Whenever we are looking for the demand, it is always represented with the price of the goods. When the price of the goods increases, the demand for the good will decrease. So there is an inverse relationship between price and the demand. So for whenever we are seeing the quantity demanded, we always see the function of price of the good. There are many important determinants of the factors. As I have already told you about these things: price of the goods, income of the buyer, price of related goods, taste of the buyer, seasons prevailing at the time of purchase, fashion, advertisement, and sales promotions. So all these I had discussed in the classes, and all these factors, these are also the factors which affects the promotion, which affects the demand of a product. Not only the price of the related goods, taste of the buyers prevailing at the time of purchase, fashion, advertisement, and sales promotion. Now let's come back to the law of demand. What is law of demand? Law of demand, this sentences, the definition is given here. You can just go through this definition. Just let me explain to you what is law of demand. Law of demand is the relationship between the price of a product and the demand of the product. Whenever we are having the price, we see whether the price is rising or falling. If the price is rising, then the quantity demanded, the demand of the product will go down. And when the price of the good is falling, the demand will increase. So there is definitely a inverse relationship. Inverse means opposite relationship between price and demand. So this is known as a law of demand. It is always having the effect of demand with the price of the product. In this law, the income, the taste, the fashion, the prices of related goods, which were the factors of productions, factors of demand, like income, taste, fashion, price of related goods, they all remain same. We only see the changes in the price and the demand, not in the change of income, taste, fashion, or price of related goods. So why the demand curve slopes downward? Demand curve is always sloping downwards. Why it is sloping downwards? Because it is having an inverse relationship between the price and the demand. It can never go upward. So why is the demand curve slopes downward? There are certain conditions which have to be followed for the demand curve to slope downwards. First is law of diminishing marginal utility. Now what is this law of diminishing marginal utility? So first let's just read this. The law of demand is based on the law of marginal utility, which states that as the consumer purchases more and more of units of a commodity, the utility derived from each successive unit goes on decreasing. It means as the price of the commodity falls, consumer purchases more of the commodity so that its marginal utility from the commodity falls to be equal to the reduced price and vice versa. And now what is this law of diminishing marginal utility is saying is whenever the consumer purchases more and more goods or commodity, the utility, when you say utility means how much satisfaction they are giving. Utility means how much satisfaction the goods are giving to you. Satisfaction, how much satisfied you are by consuming that good. So when you are purchasing more and more of those goods, at a point it keeps on decreasing. At some point of time it comes to decreasing. So when the price of the commodity fall, the consumer purchase more of the commodity, right? Whenever the price is falling, the buyer or the consumer is purchasing more of the commodity. Why they are purchasing the more of the commodity? Because the price is low. So when it is in this condition, the marginal utility from the commodity falls. As long as you are using that, you are getting the satisfaction, you will keep having that satisfaction, and then you will reach at a point where your utility will decrease. That is known as the law of diminishing marginal utility. Next is substitution effect. Before knowing what is substitution effect, you should know what is this substitution means. Substitution means you are using some good which have similar features and you are exchanging that goods. For instance, here one example has been given. Tea and coffee are substitute goods. Tea and coffee are substitute goods. Now, for example, tea's price is going down. Now, you prefer to have tea or coffee. Tea's price is going down. Then what will happen if tea's price is going down? The demand for that coffee will go down, right? So, what will happen if the price of tea is going down? You will prefer to buy more tea compared with coffee, right? So this is known as substitution effect. If your tea and coffee, you want tea and coffee, but if the price of tea is going down, you will buy more of tea compared to coffee. Now, same way, if the coffee price is going down compared to tea, then coffee you will prefer more to buy than the tea. So that is substitution effect. That means you can substitute, either you go for tea or you go for coffee. So there is a inverse relationship between these two. So when they are saying substitution effect also leads the demand curve to slope from left downward to right. Why they are saying it is moving downwards? Because the price of one good will make the other goods demand less. Now, price of tea is going up. If the price of tea is going up, the coffee demand will go down. Sorry, it will go up. So that is known as your substitution effect. Income effect. Now another is income effect. Income, I hope you already know what is income. It is the buying, purchasing power of the consumers. Now what is another reason of the demand curve sloping downwards is as the price of commodity falls, the real income of the consumer goes up. Real income is that income which is measured in terms of goods and services. Now let's take this example. A consumer has rupees 20. He wants to buy oranges whose price is rupees 20 per dozen. It means the consumer can buy 1 dozen of oranges with his fixed income. In this example, it is given here. The consumer is having 20 rupees. He wants to buy oranges whose price is rupees 20 per dozen. It means now the consumer can buy 1 dozen of oranges with his fixed income. Now suppose the price of the oranges falls to rupees 15 per dozen, which leads to an increase in his real income by rupees 5. In this case, either the consumer will buy more quantity of oranges than before, or he will buy some other commodity with his increased income. Now, in this example, it is clearly defined here. Now you are having rupees 20 rupees in your hand and you want to buy oranges, 1 dozen oranges, rupees 20, right? Now if you are having, that is your fixed income, you are having 20 rupees in your hand and you want to buy oranges for per dozen, right? Now if the price of the oranges is falling down to 15 rupees, now previously the price of one dozen of oranges was 20 rupees, now it is falling down to 15 rupees. Now what is happening, that you are having 5 rupees extra, right? It is left out with you. Now in that case, what is happening is you are buying, you can buy more quantity of that orange, you can buy more quantity of that orange, or it depends on you whether to buy more quantity of orange, or you just use that money to buy something else, or you can just keep it in your pocket. So that is what income effect is. So when the consumer is having a fixed amount to buy something and the price of the good is falling down, then he have a opportunity to buy more of that goods, or else just keep it with himself. So that is the income effect. So these are the reasons why the demand curve slopes downwards. First is law of diminishing marginal utility, next is substitution effect, and next is income effect. Exception to the law of demand. Now what is this exceptions to the law of demand? Exception means when the demand curve is not sloping downwards. I repeat again, what is exceptions to the law of demand? It means that when the law of demand, that is the demand curve, is not falling downwards. It is not falling downwards. It is not sloping downwards. In what case the law of demand will not slope downwards? First is conspicuous goods. Conspicuous goods means if the commodity is expensive, they think that it has got more utility. As such, they buy less of this commodity at low price and more of it at high price. The perfect example of conspicuous goods is your diamonds. Higher the price of diamonds, higher is the prestige value attached to them, and hence higher is the demand for them. Now for this conspicuous goods, the best example is your diamond. What is it saying? The consumer is buying more of the good, that is diamond, when the price of diamond is increasing, because they feel that if the diamond is expensive, if the price of diamond is more, then it have more value attached with the good, that is diamond. So when the person is trying to buy the diamond, when it is of high price, when it is higher, the price is higher, the demand for that diamond increases. Okay, so if now price is increasing as well as demand is increasing, so if they are increasing, both are increasing, then they cannot show a curve which is downward sloping. It will go upward sloping. That means when the price is high, demand is also high, right? So that's why in this case, in conspicuous goods, the law of demand does not slope downwards. Hope so it is clear. Next is Giffen Goods. Now Giffen Goods is given by Sir Robert Giffen. He was an economist. What he said, he was giving this Giffen Goods name by his experience. What he said is that the reason given for this is that when the price of bread went up, it caused such a large decline in the purchasing power of poor people that they were forced to cut down the consumption of meat and other more expensive goods. Since bread, even when its price was higher than before, was still the cheapest food article, people consume more of it and not less when its price is going down. Now Giffen Goods is like the necessity goods. Whenever you are seeing some necessity goods, like in this example they have given the example of bread, but in the normal case, you as day-to-day example you can take of a rice, like we all take a rice, right? So when the price of rice is going up, so that means there is the purchasing power of the poor people. That means the poor people, they cannot afford to buy that high priced goods like the rice. But when the rice price is going up compared with other goods, then it becomes difficult for the poor people to buy the goods. But still, since it is a necessity, since you need to have rice, even if the price is increasing, people will buy the amount of rice how much they want to consume. So that is also a reason that when the price is going up, when the price of the rice is going up, then the consumers are buying more of that rice for consumption, and that's why the law of demand, that is the demand curve, is not sloping downwards. Next is future expectation about prices. Now what is this future expectation about the prices? Is it has been observed that when the prices are rising, households expecting that the price in the future will be still higher tend to buy larger quantities of the commodities. It is the same, little bit similar with the Giffen Goods. Here they are saying that if in the future you expect that some of the price of the goods might increase. Same example we can take of rice. If you think now in this case, you can take a simple example in what is happening nowadays is because of this COVID-19. The prices of goods are increasing, right? Everything is very expensive because of this COVID-19 case. So what is happening is when the price of some goods are increasing, like basic necessity, oil, rice, dal, everything. So when it is increasing, the people are thinking that in the future also these prices might increase. So what they do is they keep buying the goods when it is available, whenever it is available, whether it is costly or whether it is cheap. Even if the price is high, they buy the rice and keep it as a security for consumption in future. So in this case, future expectation, when you are thinking that in the price of rice might increase in the future, then the people, the consumers are buying more of the goods. So in this case also the demand is not fulfilling the law of demand, that is the demand curve is sloping upwards. As the price is increasing, more demand for the goods. So that's why the law of demand is not followed in these cases. So what are those? First case was conspicuous goods, like example is diamond. If the diamond price is higher, they have more prestige and they demand more of it. Giffen goods, when the necessity goods are increased, they are forced to buy the goods at higher prices. When your future expectation about the prices, when you think that in the future price might increase, then again you are buying more of those goods. So these are the three conditions: conspicuous goods, Giffen goods, future expectation about prices. Next, we'll come to the types of demand now. What are the types of demand? First is the price demand. So price demand, you must be very clear that there is an inverse relationship between these two. When the price of a good, see here, when the price of a good is here, the demand is here. When the price is high, the demand is less. So when the price is low, demand is more. So when we see it in a curve, when we draw it in a curve, you can see a downward sloping curve, right? So this is a downward sloping curve because we have an inverse relationship between price and demand. So this is all about price demand. Next comes to income demand. Now income demand, when you see the diagram, you can see that when the income of a person is increasing, they demand more of the goods. When the income was low, they demand less of the goods, right? So in this case, they have a direct relationship between the price and the demand. That's why the slope, the demand curve slope, is going upwards. So in case of income demand, the demand and income relation is positive. That is, they are direct with each other. When income is increasing, demand also increases. When income is falling, demand is also falling. So that is income demand. Next is cross demand. Now what is cross demand? When the demand of one commodity is related with the price of other commodity is called cross demand. Now for this exam, for this you have to see the substitute goods and the complementary goods. First you should know what is substitute good and what is complementary goods. Substitute good, as I have already explained to you, that they are the goods which can be used in case of each other, like tea and coffee. If tea price is going up, demand for coffee will go up. If tea price is going down, demand for coffee will go down, right? So this is the relation of substitute goods, tea and coffee. You can change your taste by substituting with tea or coffee. If tea price is increasing, then you demand more of coffee, because at high price you will not buy the tea. Let me just make it clear with this example again. Let's say the price of tea is 10 rupees and the price of coffee is 20 rupees. So which item you will buy? You will buy tea, right? Because tea's price is rupees 10 and coffee price is rupees 20, right? Now if suppose the price of tea goes to 25, it is increased to 25 and coffee is still 20 rupees, then what you will do? You will not go for tea, you will go for coffee, right? So that is a substitution effect. When the price of some goods is increasing, the demand for other goods will decrease. Okay. Now in such case the demand and price are positively related. Now positively related is this one. In case of substitute goods, that means price of tea is increasing, that means demand for coffee will increase. If price of tea is decreasing, demand for tea will be more as compared to coffee. So there is a positive relation. You should know it very well that in case of substitute goods, it is positive, that is the demand curve is upward sloping, and in case of complementary goods, it is downward sloping. Now what is complementary goods? Complementary goods means which are used together, like pen and ink. If you have an ink pen, you need to write with a pen, but if you are not using the ink, then how can you make use of the pen, right? Ink pen, I'm not talking about any other pens, I'm talking about the ink pen. So when you are buying the ink pen, you bought the pen and at the same time you have to buy the ink also, right? Without ink you will not be able to write with the pen. So this is an example of complementary goods. Another example of complementary goods can be car and petrol. If you are having a car and you don't have petrol in it, will the car run? It will not run, right? So if you have a car, you need to have petrol. So if you are having petrol and in the car, then only the car can run, right? So this is complementary goods. You are having a car and you need to have petrol to run that car. Without that, the goods cannot be used. So that is known as complementary goods. They are used together. So in this one, complementary goods are those which are incomplete without each other, right? I hope you have understood this. These all goods go together, often more simultaneously. This is the pen and ink example I have given. One more example I have given is the car and petrol. Without car, if you don't have car, you don't need petrol. If you have car, you need petrol, right? So this is a inverse relationship between these. Next is expansion and contraction of demand. What does this expansion and contraction of demand means? Now expansion means when increase in demand, when your demand is increasing because of fall in the price, that is called extension of the demand. When the price is decreasing, your demand is increasing, right? That is called expansion or extension of demand. The same way, when the price is high, when the price is rising and the demand is decreasing, then it is known as contraction of demand. Extension and contraction of demand results in movement of the demand curve. Movement of a demand curve means it moves from one place to another, from one position to another. Now, the main thing which you have to remember about expansion and contraction is expansion means when the demand is increasing because the price is falling. And what is contraction? Demand is decreasing because the price is increasing. So this is expansion and contraction of demand. So hope you all have liked the video and you have understood it carefully. And so thank you for watching the video.